Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Stickbow Chronicles. Been a great week. I just got back from a hunt down south. Super fun. My longtime hunting buddy Jake Strohmeyer was unable to make it this year, and so I asked Kenny Markwardt. Kenny was just a recent guest on the show. He is a new hunter. I think he's been hunting 4 years. He's been hunting both gun and bow. His circle of friends are all friends of mine. They're all compound hunters, and that's what Kenny started with. He's been shooting a compound for 4 years. He's been elk hunting and has yet to draw his bow on an elk as of the beginning of this year. Anyways, we have changed that. So it was a great time to interact with a brand new hunter. We talk a lot about what it's like to try to learn hunting at 30 years old, and I think he learned some stuff this week. It was at times a very frustrating week for him, but it was great. It was a great opportunity for me to, kind of see hunting through somebody else's eyes and try to help understand and inspire and educate maybe those that hadn't been doing this as long as I have. So I hope you guys all get something out of it, something out of this episode. Kenny was really transparent in his journey, so that was helpful. It was fun. It was really fun. It was also an opportunity to maybe expose him to what traditional equipment's like. He ends up seeing the lethality of it and seeing some serious benefits to it. Not sure he'll change tomorrow, but certainly has planted the seed after this week. And yeah, we had some good-natured ribbing. It was a lot of fun. Now, there's been a lot of photos, a lot of success photos for only the second week in September going up. If you're just getting started this week, or your season hasn't started yet, man, don't let it discourage you. I've been there. It seems like everybody's punching tags but you. Hey, stay after it. Do what you do. Keep your moral compass and enjoy yourself. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors as usual. They are awesome and help us put this together. The Professional Bowhunter Society, the Footed Shaft, and Selway Archery. Drew killed a dandy buck last week out west. Congratulations, Drew. That's a heck of an accomplishment. I know you killed that. It's not easy. Terry with the Footed Shaft, he's hunting out west. Good luck, Terry. And Professional Bowhunter Society, they got a membership drive going on until March 12th, 2020. I won't go through all the details here. Visit their website to get all the fine-tuned details. But I can tell you that the winner of the membership drive, well, let's see. The price package includes airfare from the continental U.S. to Georgia, a 3-day non-resident license to hunt hogs, and it says dates for the hunt are flexible. So it's at the world famous, mark that down, world famous, Paradise Hunt Club. That Paradise Hunt Club, that is Matt Schuster's stomping grounds. Now, that would be worth the price of admission just to hang out with Matt Schuster. But looks like maybe one or all of us from the Stickbow Chronicles will be there, and hopefully somebody or both guys from the Push would be there. What a hoot that would be, getting together and telling some lies and cutting it up and hunting hogs. Can't go wrong there. So yeah, check it out. Look them up on the website. Without any further lip flapping from me, let's get after this episode. So enjoy. He almost got bucked off.
Man down. That's twice you've tried to kill yourself today.
Yeah, Havilon to the wrist.
Yep.
I got Kenny Markwardt. You might remember him from the fitness episode. How's it going, Kenny?
It's great, man. Sun's out. Hanging out under a tree. Pretty romantic. Living the dream.
Living the dream. So Kenny and I, we chose to get after elk together. I was a little scared because he's quite a bit younger and more fit. But it's worked out so far.
Yep.
How long you been bow hunting?
This is my 4th seasons with a bow.
Your 4th season.
Yep. So 3 before this.
And you shoot a compound. You got it.
Yeah.
You got tied in with some pretty good hunters. So.
Yep.
Matt and Travis and those guys. Who's your other buddy? Who's the other guy you were hunting with?
That's it. Actually,
I don't want to leave anybody out.
No, that's it so far. As far as I recall, I may have left them out too. No, but I've been real fortunate to link up with some helpful guys in this.
And you're a new hunter to boot, right?
Yeah.
Relatively.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we should probably air this out in the beginning. I'm a Californian to start. I own a CrossFit gym, compound bow shooter. I've got 3 strikes against me here, and you must have whiffed your way down the list to come
Dude,
to me.
I'm gonna be kicked out of so many circles. Number one's the redneck crowd.
That's right.
Rednecks are no longer gonna hang out with me.
Well,
but maybe it's a testament to my growing as a human because I'm hanging out with a Californian. I'm hanging out with a guy that owns a CrossFit gym, and he shoots a compound.
that's right.
I am just all inclusive.
And you are. I'm sitting here. I got a flat bill hat on.
Bullshit. That's where I draw the line.
Tight pants.
Well, we did have a bonding moment yesterday. We won't.
That's a good part. Tight pants better than no pants.
Oh, that's good
No,
stuff.
I think I'm absolved of my Californianess now. I've been in Idaho for must be 7.5 years or so,
Yeah.
and
All in Sandpoint.
all in Sandpoint, yeah. And really, I think I knew I made it. I think it was a year ago. We were having dinner with some people that have been in Sandpoint like 20 some odd years, and she's like, "Man, you really like I would have never guessed you were in California, like that you had that in you. Like you just kind of like." And I feel like that was like I got up here and I was like, "Okay, this is life. Like I'm not like I don't want it." Because I think the problem that a lot of people have with people that move from California or wherever is they want all the cool things that Idaho has. But they want to bring all these things that they used to have in California and make it, California with awesome mountains and wilderness and things like that. And I was so much more like I had a hard time in California with people because I felt like the priorities and things they wanted to do for recreation just didn't line up with me. I hadn't found hunting at that point, and actually before we moved here, I'd never really thought I wanted to hunt. It was more, I thought I knew I would go really dive into fishing. I grew up ocean fishing, so I figured, start fly fishing and hiking and spending as much time as I could outdoors. And then I got in with some friends, with actually a buddy of mine, Mark Rowe, the knife maker I was telling you about earlier, Rowe Knives. He really kind of supported that. He said, "Yeah, I said I would like to start turkey hunting because it made good sense to dive in that way. Something easy and not low effort necessarily, but that was a good way to start." So he helped me along there and kind of off to the races from there.
And you probably started shotgun, rifle, and
Yep, shotgun. Yep.
And you weren't just from California. You were you were Huntington Beach. I mean,
Huntington Beach, born and raised. Yeah, and then went to Santa Barbara for school. And I think I was there for 7 or 8 years.
Now, I don't know California, but that's like the thick of California, isn't it?
Yeah, Santa Barbara. There was a saying there. It was keep LA 100 miles away, and I really like that. And I think that unfortunately LA kept kind of encroaching more and more.
Yeah.
But Santa Barbara had a real small town feel, despite the fact that it was, I think the county's probably 50,000 people. I might be wrong on that number, but it's not small.
Yeah.
And I was thick Southern California, pavement, concrete, jungle. I mean, there's the beach, but other than that, it's.
So why'd you move up here?
So Jen, my wife, and I, we were in our mid-late 20s, and I was in a job that I absolutely hated, which I think I touched on last podcast. I won't go down that road too far, but we were out hiking up in some of the trails above Santa Barbara, and we started talking about how, we really like the openness and being able to take our dog places, and what raising a kid in Southern California would look like, and that it wasn't really something that matched up with our priorities. And we'd also both, she's from Northern California, I'm from Southern California, and we never lived anywhere outside of that. And so we figured before we had kids and before we really dug in too far, that it'd be a great time to try somewhere else, somewhere with seasons and somewhere with space and somewhere we could explore the outdoors a little bit more. And we'd been coming to North Idaho for years, skiing and hanging out in the summer, and that made a lot of sense to just go back to a place we knew instead of starting from scratch somewhere else. So
nice. So on the drive down, I mean, you and I, we hadn't done a lot outside of the gym,
yeah,
right?
Right.
We just knew you from the gym, and so my standard hunting partner, he had other commitments this year, so this is too big a country to hunt by myself. So I just said, hey man, what do you think? You want to go try to do some big country hunting? And you were down with it, so we just jumped in the truck, and it's kind of a risk that you don't really know somebody.
Yeah.
You're gonna go hang out for a week and gonna do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I know. I had some thoughts about it. I was like, what if he's he's a close talking, mouth chewing open.
And that nightmare all came to fruition.
That's right. He's got night terrors. He wakes up screaming at 3 in the morning.
But so we're kind of getting to know each other a little better on the drive, and you dropped a bomb on me on the way down. You kind of have a beef with the Meateater crowd.
I don't know if the crowd. I think it's just one. I think it's one particular, really? the leader of the pack.
You gotta fill us in, because this is I was blown away.
Yeah. I think it's been going on 2 years now, and it's still, I think it gets worse. It's like a festering wound. It's, so it really started when a friend of mine, Travis, and another friend of mine, Kirk, we were fishing steelhead on the Olympic Peninsula, and we were driving around in the jungle, the Pacific Northwest jungle, and it's famous for Sasquatch stories over there. And so we're on some backcountry road out in the middle of nowhere, and I posed the question to the group. All right, so actually I think it started off, I'll lead into the real question. So the real question is, if you're out hunting by yourself, totally alone, no camera, no nothing, and a bona fide Sasquatch crosses your path, and you know it's a Sasquatch. It's not a dude in a suit. It's not a monkey that got loose. You know 100% sure this is a Sasquatch. What do you shoot this Sasquatch? And on the surface, it's a kind of a basic question, and it becomes real yes or no. But if you really dive into it, I think there's a lot of interesting things to consider there. Some of which are the science. This is my kind of big thing, is every one of our forefathers in science who wanted to research and learn and document and really get to know a species, unfortunately you have to crack some eggs to make an omelet. And, most of the tales are people shooting stuff and writing it down and saying, okay, this is what I found, colors, what I can guess on mating. And
so which way do you lean? What would you do?
So it's kind of like for most of us as hunters, we're not pro kill. None of us really savor the kill, but it's the aftermath. I'm pro. I'm pro killing Sasquatch.
You don't know if he's a carnivore, an omnivore, or herbivore.
Yeah, we don't know any of these things.
You're just gonna smoke them.
But I'll have remorse. There will be a remorseful, scientific data collection.
So how are you gonna get him out whole? You by yourself. You can't cut him up, because then it doesn't work.
That's when you got to call that one friend. The one person who's got that the capabilities and discretion to
So now,
make this happen. You also don't know. Sasquatch might be 4 feet tall. I might just be able to sling him over my shoulder and wander out of the woods with him.
so now, how does this turn into a beef with Mr. Rinella?
So I sent this question in to Meateater. I think it was 2 years ago, and got a response from somebody, whoever mans their email, and they said, "Oh, that's a fantastic question. Steve loved it. We're gonna answer it on an upcoming episode." I said, "Sweet." I said, if anybody, one of the things I do like about Steve Rinella is he's a good representative of.
Oh, I
of
love the
hunting.
guy.
You know, it's
we're just having fun here.
Yeah.
We're having fun.
It's and he's got historical information that's really interesting to people. He's got food. He really paints a good. I think if there's a representative of hunters to the rest of the world, he's a good person for that. And I thought he would really find that an interesting question that he would want to debate and consider. And so I listened to every episode from then on, thinking, okay, maybe this is the one, maybe this is the one, maybe this is the one. And finally they do it on the live one. I think it was in Missoula or Bozeman or something. And it was the first question they answered. And I was I knew what was going to happen almost from the outset, because the question was posed to the group, the panel, and it was posed in a very flippant way, like where I was like, "Oh, this dude wants to know."
They downplayed it.
They downplayed it. It was like, "This dude wants to know if you're going to ice Sasquatch if you see him in the woods." It was just kind of all right, a very, very surface level kind of a thing. And so they go kind of down the group, and everyone kind of said, "No." I think it was a unanimous no, if I recall. And that was really about it. There wasn't a whole lot more considered on there. And so I sat on this. I was a little frustrated.
So you stewed because it deserved more of a discussion.
Yeah, I think it deserves.
It needed more Rinella love.
It did. I thought, maybe.
Because now I got to jump in, because that's what blew me away, because I was like, I remember the question, and now I'm sitting in the truck with the guy who wrote it. So yeah, I was a little awestruck right then.
Yeah, which we actually haven't really considered I don't think we've actually delved into what your answer is on that one.
Well, I was thinking after yesterday, if you shoot him down there, I'm killing you. There's 2 bodies down there, Sasquatch and yours.
You just hit the inReach. That's the other thing. Hit the SOS. Listen, what's your emergency? I just killed Sasquatch. And they're either going to come down or they're going to write you off and leave you to die.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I think I stewed on it for like almost a year. Like, it wasn't keeping me awake at night, but I was like, I would bring it up to other people, and this is one of my favorite get to know person. I don't hire a lot of people at our business, but if I did, that would be one of the questions I would ask them, just to.
I can see you asking Amanda that.
I don't know. She's a science major. She might like it. And actually, that's one of the things I like about the question, is that almost everybody initially says no. No. Are you serious? No, why? He's not threatening me. Like, he's just going about his business, whatever he's doing, eating flowers or chasing chipmunks around. And then if you really like pose more evidence for pro killing Sasquatch, people tend to agree with you that they would do it out of. It would be a
gift to science. You're saying
exactly. It would be a progressive move in science, and that they would do it, but they wouldn't enjoy it. Like, it wouldn't be oh, hot damn, I shot Sasquatch, I'm the man.
Now, what would you do if there was 2 of them?
That's a good question. Well, I think you got to take one, but you better be on the move, ready to shoot the next one if it turns on you. So after this year of stewing about this and consulting with people and thinking, yeah, this is an interesting question, I formulated a very long email documenting all of my reasons. I said, okay.
What, to Meateater
back
crew.
to Meateater. I said, hey, listen, you guys barely touched on this thing. Like, I think it needs more discussion. I think, I want to know what you think about the following things. And I brought up science. I said, if you're anti-shooting Sasquatch, like you're anti-Teddy Roosevelt going around and shooting birds and writing about those things. And I said, and selfishly, like, you're financially set for the rest of your life. You're good. You can set up your little Sasquatch showings. You can sell it to the Smithsonian.
So now you want to make money off it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would be some. There's some people that would take that for enough reason to do it. And let's see. I had the email. I pulled it up before we did this, so I could have my my thoughts organized. Let's see. Science. Yep. Validation. Oh, that's another one. So the other side of that is you can't come back from this trip. So this is the one you see Sasquatch out in the woods. You can't come back and tell anybody, because all of a sudden you're a Bigfoot acceptor. Like, you're one of those people, and no matter what, even my best of friends, if they came back and said, I saw a Sasquatch, I'd be like, oh man, now you're crazy. Like, now I'm not sure now I'm not sure I can take the rest of you seriously. I'm not sure that's reason enough to shoot him, but you can't tell him. You definitely got to keep that to yourself, or all of a sudden you're a lunatic, and you're gonna lose some credibility amongst the community.
And you would be validating all the nut jobs that have been running around for
right. Exactly.
I shouldn't have said nut jobs. I probably offended some people there. But,
Yeah.
well, like the guys that had the Chasing Bigfoot reality show.
That's right.
I mean, that might get picked up again.
That's I titled this paragraph is called Validation. Yeah. Personal gain, which we talked about, the financial gain there. And the other side of it is that there's more. So it's not that you're killing the one Sasquatch. Like, again, you might not take it lightly, but if there's one, there's probably more. So you're not extincting a species.
So you crafted this well laid out argument, and you sent it back to the Meateater crew.
Yes.
And what was their response?
Nothing.
What?
Dead air.
No.
I got a whole lot of nothing.
Nah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep. And however, yeah, this is what really turned the screws for me. Is that the next it was literally like a week or two after this, and it was either the most random coincidence ever, or they kind of I can't imagine some nefarious situation where they're thinking, oh yeah, this guy's got some points, let's bring on a Bigfoot expert and not give him any credit. But maybe the next person, I think it was her dad, was like a Bigfoot. Like, he was one of those guys that was running around.
Who's her dad?
She was the next guest. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah. I remember that
I'm
episode.
not that well prepared. Yeah, but It was like 90 minutes on like
on basically everything you had touched on.
Yeah, and then they all kind of turned their tune and said, yeah, you know what? That's right. And I think the story, I could be wrong here again too, but I think the story went that she said that her dad carried a rifle around with the idea that if he ever came across him, he was going to have to put him down.
So to sum this all up, your well thought out question that was very thought-provoking got no love.
None.
And then they went ahead and ran with it.
Ran it anyways.
Man, it didn't just say like, hey, Kenny, thanks for the idea.
Yeah, exactly. No, I actually think I turned that episode off because I was a little bit irritated. And I double-checked with somebody else. They didn't give me any credit, right?
So how could Steve Rinella make this right?
Maybe a Bigfoot hunt to eat type shirt. I have no idea. I don't know.
How could he get back in Kenny Markwart's graces?
That's
There's no hope.
question. I'm not sure.
There's no
think
hope
about that one. I think there's hope. Like I said, I respect. I think he's doing a great thing. Maybe some credit. Maybe some. Maybe just take me on a hunt.
Just hey Kenny, we probably should have thanked you, but we didn't.
Yeah, I don't get the feeling that's in his. I've never listened to an episode feeling like, yeah, he's gonna be. I think if he gets wind of this, I'm gonna get more grief than I'm gonna get apologies.
Oh, you think?
Oh, I'm sure of that. I'm sure of that. That's all right.
Cool.
That's
Well,
right.
at least you got it off your chest now.
Yeah. No, I think
Maybe you feel a little better.
The last thing I think I said, I qualified the end of the thing that said the only way you could say no is that it would be better if we captured a live one, So, you might find
I'm going to throw a netter over.
Yeah, you're going to net gun this.
Good luck.
You're going to Dr. Seuss net gun this thing. You were on some hunt that you didn't want to ruin. You were on some low draw odds.
Oh
hunt of a
yeah,
lifetime
think about
thing.
that. Yeah.
And all of a sudden you got to eat that tag because you're dealing with helicoptering a Sasquatch out. Or maybe you just don't want that kind of attention or fortune in your life. I can't imagine that our friends at PETA would be real thrilled with you. You'd be having people at your doorstep every day, protesting against you. He'd be pretty upset with there'd be some crowd that was upset with you. So there's some potential for no there.
So now, shifting gears a little bit, the first day we got out, we did come up with a big idea. We shot a couple grouse, and now lay on the listeners what our big idea is. We've already patented this.
Yes.
So you can try to infringe upon that, but we'll sue you.
We're coming. We got a big legal team behind us here. at our company called Small Game Sacks.
And that is for the small game hunter.
For the small game hunter. When you harvest that grouse and you don't know what to do with it,
Yep.
You got to shove it in a Ziploc bag that was meant for your lunch, or
you got to pull your toilet paper out, risking your toilet paper getting wet.
Yeah.
To put grouse in. It's a real hindrance.
It's
actually, I don't think it's doing the grouse any justice. I think it's disrespectful to the grouse to go in a Ziploc.
Agreed.
So we came up with the idea of having kind of like a tag bag, small game bag.
Yep.
And that's for the guy that says, "Hey, did you get an elk?" "No, but I shot a grouse."
Shot half a dozen grouse.
Yeah. I mean,
great.
that's for the traditional bow hunter. That because I've been that guy. You get an elk? No, but I shot a hell of a shot on a grouse.
Yeah, I did.
I'm going to feed the tribe with a grouse breast this winter.
Yeah, and then when you came back, I think that having half a dozen of those hanging, that would have been instant.
Please, a meat pole.
Yeah, a meat pole, grouse hanging in small game sacks, and it's not limited to grouse. If you fancy yourself a squirrel hunter.
Squirrel hunter. Yep.
Which was our other foray in squirrel shape.
Yep. Now that's a business that you and a couple other guys that I can't claim in on that, but squirrel shape.
Yep. Big.
Inspiring people to get in shape. To squirrel hunt.
Or being more accepting.
So
accepting of their lack of
you
shape.
in elk shape? No, I'm in squirrel shape.
Squirrel shape. I'm working on my squirrel shape. It's the off season. 365. 24/7. Yeah, I think we got big things coming here. Small game bags. Small game sacks.
So that leads us to the first day. By the way, Kenny has got this awesome tent. I was going minimal. I was going to stay in my my Seek outside with a little floorless shelter. Kenny talked me into bringing this. He bring a Kodiak canvas tent.
Yeah, spring
I've
bar.
heard of them. I've never seen them. That thing's a beast, man. That is a tough tent.
Yeah, I love that thing. Actually, Travis Ricardo had one. I think now there's 3 of them in our hunting group.
Really? All the same size?
Yep, same size. Great for the family. You can stand up in it.
Yeah, it goes up quick.
Yeah, 20 minutes is, I think, I can do that solo in about 20 minutes. And
because we got aluminum poles. Might be better if they're grounded. The weather we've had here lately.
Yes, that could be an upgrade.
Yeah, when we say, I messaged my wife. I said, yeah, we're getting a pretty bad storm, but fortunately we're at the highest point.
Yeah, it's good.
So yeah, the first day we got in and set up. We got in at night, I guess.
We did.
Set up camp.
Yeah, right at dark, I think.
Kind of a long ways in here. And the first day out, we slipped down the ridge there, and it was just cracking daylight. I mean, It was just legal shooting light, and I had just put a diaphragm in, and long pause because I'm waiting. Okay, get over your laughter. And I was just checking it to, for cow calling. And I just kind of, just trying to checking it, make sure everything was right, first hunt of the year, and bam.
It was one. You let out one note. It wasn't even multiple.
And we're not 300
soft.
yards from the tent.
Yeah.
And we get a grunt, and that was 100, maybe 120 yards at the most from us.
We're directly downwind.
Yes, that was awesome. And so we're like, man, this is awesome. We kind of try to put a play on them, but it's the response I kind of expect early season. It'd been super hot and dry, and so we went further down, and then had that bull way down below us. He grunted later. It's kind of the same thing, just lazy grunt. And then it got. We're pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we had this other one across the canyon do the same thing, just a lazy grunt. So we know there was 3 bulls there. But it was bleak, man. That was hot. Holy crap. We ended out on that rock point, took a nap.
Scorching, yeah.
Oh. But that's typical. It's typical early season Idaho elk hunt. Well, we got out of there and we went somewhere in the evening. Oh.
Yeah, we came back here, hung out.
Is that when we got it? We got into that other bull?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Go ahead.
First day.
Take it away.
Well, you had been saying, you're like, since we started talking about this trip, you had lined out on a map. You said, all right, we're going here.
Yeah.
And we're going to run them out or we're going to kill them. This is exactly what we're going to do. First day, we're going to do this.
Yeah. And there we are, not there.
Right. So first day, you wake up and had a total change of heart. Said, let's go down here. Okay.
It almost worked.
It almost worked great, yeah. And then, so we zip over there, climb out on a ridge and start glassing. It's still the evening.
Yeah.
Find a bull over there in the kind of tucked up in a pocket of dark trees.
Yep.
Bugle once.
Bugled one time.
Yep.
And this open burn country, I can't believe what we get away with sometimes.
Yeah.
Because they know you're there.
Right.
They assume you're elk, but I would think they'd look.
Yeah.
But we come down that scree slope, busting sticks, because we only had like an hour and a half. Is what we figured.
Yeah, I think it was 6:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we come off that scree slope and down, burnt trees and making all this racket. Got in the bottom, kind of trying to figure what the wind was going to do because it was just set in that basin. And he didn't move very far.
No, not at all. We saw his cow. We saw a cow come out,
Oh, that's right.
and then she went running up. I don't know what spooked her or what, but it wasn't. She wasn't looking at us, and she went running off. And that was the only movement or anything coming from over there.
Yeah, so we got on the elevation of that bull, figuring we would figure what the wind did, whether it was going up or down when we got close. So we kept pushing. I was getting a little nervous because you were wanting to set up the one time. I'm like, let's get closer. It's just so open in there. I kind of thought, man, we might get busted, but we had to get in as close as we could. And so you were going to call.
Mm-hmm. In fact, I did for about an hour.
Yeah. So I got out front. You got set up, and you called, and then I saw him.
Yeah.
I could see him up there start raking, and he would bugle and rake, and I don't know. At that time, he was probably 100 yards.
I could see his hind legs, and I would say a little more than 100 yards.
So he wasn't moving, and it's pretty sparse cover in there. So I can get to the next tree. And then you kept calling, and he kept doing his thing. I'll get to the next tree. And I covered probably, I probably covered 60 yards. Cut the distance, and then I just ran out of cover. And I could see, once in a while I could see his head, so I was kind of hosed at that point. He'd see me. But he was a nice 6-point, and he'd rake, but he wouldn't move.
No, he didn't move at all. He would answer almost every bugle. He kept raking, same tree.
But then you moved.
I finally knew, but I was in the same boat as you because I couldn't see where his head was, and I knew he was looking right, or he would be looking right at me. He knew exactly where I was. I was screaming at him.
Yeah.
Raking trees,
You were
doing everything.
You were getting hoarse. Matter of fact, after it was over, you were hoarse. You bugled so much.
I thought that was the longest. That was crazy. raking trees. If I had to move trees because I beat all the branches off of the one tree. And so I moved to the next tree. That was the first time I moved, and he still didn't. That didn't trigger anything from him. And finally, I was kind of like, I figured it was all or nothing. Like I was gonna have to.
Yeah.
If he saw me, fine. But there was another tree, probably 12 yards in front of me or so, and I made a beeline for that and started hitting that tree. I don't even know if I hit the tree. I think I bugled from there, and then he turned and he came right.
Yeah, when you moved that last time, all of a sudden he stepped out because he knew you got closer. He stepped out.
Yeah.
And now he started. I thought he was going to come down underneath.
Yeah.
To wind you, and apparently he was just so fired up he didn't care about figuring out who you were. He came over the top, and I didn't have a good shot at the top. So when he came across, he was at like 45 for me, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so he kept coming, and then what turned him? He turned.
No, so yeah, so I ended up behind this tree that it was not a good, like I knew it wasn't a good spot to be in, but I figured I had to move, and that was the only cover I could get behind. So he came up and around, which is the exact opposite way we kind of thought. The wind was going, and so he came up and straight in down at me, and he was looking right at me. And he gets behind a very small tree, and he'd put his head down, and I drew, and he was at this point about 45 yards from me, I think. And because I thought at that point he was just going to keep going straight, so I drew, and then he turned. I don't know if he saw a little bit of movement.
Yeah, now he turned.
But that's when he got a little bit skittish. Like he went from the tree he was raking to that little tree he got behind when he put his head down. And then when I drew, something I think that might have thrown him.
He at this point he's looking at me, and yeah.
Yeah, and then I had a very small window. I didn't really know where you were at that point because you weren't calling anymore.
Yeah.
And I just moved, and this all happened in a matter of like 35 seconds or so. So I'm kind of like, I'm going from calling. I had an arrow knocked, but I was like, this totally caught me off guard. And by the way, this is my 4th season, but I think I've been in one situation where somebody was calling for me and a bull was coming in, and that bull never got to within 100 yards. So this is
the first time.
This is the first time a bull's coming in for me. And I'm like, oh, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm remarkably calm. I drew real smooth. Like, this is good.
You can't keep adrenaline for an hour.
No.
We're well into this
dumb.
now.
Yeah, I was dumb. And so he turned. He was looking at you, and I had there was a V between two trees that was, I think, 15, 20 yards in front of me. And so I'm still at full draw, and he gets right between that V, and I stop him with a cow call. And I think I figured him at 40 yards, and that's when panic hit.
Yeah.
I've replayed this 1,000 times on my head. I didn't sleep the night after this. So I find my 40-yard pin, raise up, and I'd already been at full draw for a minute or so here, and I'd practiced it. Like I put in a lot of time in the off season before this. So, and I think after reviewing this 1,000 times, I think what happened is that because I felt I had to rush it, because when I stopped him, all of a sudden I thought, oh, I'm not really, I don't have him targeted.
Yeah.
And I had to find him, center, do all the things, and in anticipation, my finger I think I released a little bit early as I was bringing that pin up and across. Yeah. And so I shot right under him.
Yeah. Then we talked about, in the beginning, this was cool that you and I got together because you as a new bow hunter and shooting a compound, I was excited I knew we'd get some opportunities.
Yeah.
To go through the paces with you, and that happens. It doesn't matter how long you're bow hunting.
Yeah, I know.
Rushing the shot is tough, and we talked about it. There's very few people that are ice, and we talked about trigger time. The difference in people that get to shoot a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's clean miss, so that's the second best option.
Agreed. 100 times, 100%.
Yeah.
I haven't done this for so long and never even been at full draw. Like, it was kind of a bummer to have it end that way, but 1,000 times I'd take that over because I think I missed him by I actually thought I hit him in the gut.
Yeah.
He flinched underneath as the arrow went under. So what actually happened in the third mistake I think I made, the first mistake was I shouldn't have stopped him because he was, and maybe you could argue that because he might have seen you.
Well, you did. Yeah, you didn't. He was coming head on to me. He was at 28 yards at this point, walking right at me. You never know what's going to happen at that point. I wouldn't want you to hold off.
Yeah, but the second mistake was rushing the shot and not being prepared to shoot at that point. Then the third mistake was, but again in hindsight, I know why I did it because I thought I hit him in the guts.
Yeah.
I immediately followed up with a shot.
Yeah,
because he was spooked, but he didn't run off.
No.
He hung out even after that second follow up that I think I winged it right over him.
Yeah, and I thought I put the binos up and I was seeing the just the red under his armpit. At first I thought it was a hit, and then I thought, well, no, because I was ready to follow up, but yeah, it was just the coloration. So yeah, he hung out. He really wanted to. He wanted to help. He wanted to help us out, but
he really did. It's a thing that, like I said, I didn't sleep that night because I was so bummed about it. And I think I had a text from you that said, "Whatever you do, don't miss."
Yeah,
so
actually, I felt bad after the miss. I thought about the text I had sent you earlier,
but it was good. I mean, you put it in, look, get some practice, and I really did. One of the things I said to Jen, is my wife, before I left, is if whatever happens, I want to know that I spent as much time as I could have. I think for the last month, there was one day I don't think I shot. And so I spent the time and did the things, but I said to you before, is there's nothing that can replicate that.
No, and your personality, I mean, as I get to know your story, you're a pretty analytical guy. I mean, I'm impressed how much time you've put into, learning elk hunting, learning calling, and you've had the opportunity to hunt with some good guys, but yeah, you've got a knowledge base. It's just experience.
Yeah.
And as we'll talk about, it doesn't matter how much experience you are. Sometimes you rush a shot.
Yeah. So again, I'm stoked that he ran off. We all ran off. I got some lessons to learn. Of course, I would have loved it.
It would have been horrible to pack it out that close to the truck.
I know that was the other side. It was
awful.
Oh gosh,
that would have been
first
awful.
day,
right under the truck.
Right under the truck. Yeah, we could have came down the next day when it was supposed to be hot. And,
yeah, so we walked out in waning light, and that was all cool.
Yeah.
You were agonized, and that's normal, but
yeah.
And the next day, went to. This is the spot I've been dreaming about all summer long, since last year, going out on this ridge, and we were going to spike out there and stay out there because of those wallows. And if you all remember from my podcast last year, this is where I ran into Manny sleeping in a dust wallow. Awesome. Yeah, so it was pounded last year, those wallows. Man, I had thoughts of grandeur, putting up a tree saddle and hanging out that wallow. So that's a long walk out there. And we got out there. We decided just to day hunt it and not spike. And man, the elk just weren't there. There was minimal sign. And yeah, we decided. Well, we sat. That was a long day, man.
I think it was 6 hours
sitting on that wall.
6 hours, yeah.
And the wind was perfect all day, which was pretty rare. And just had to come to grips with it, man. For whatever reason, the elk aren't there this year. Got out of there, glassed up a couple bulls across the canyon, or a bull.
Yeah, after we walked all the way out from the truck, we glassed up.
Yeah, and so that day was a bust till we got to camp, and those two cow elk standing 30 yards from our tent.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Tent blind.
Yeah, the tent blind. Then we had a weather change.
We did.
Was it changing? Yeah. Oh, we slept in.
Yeah.
Because it was raining, thunder, and lightning that night, and it was raining pretty good in the morning, and I just knew that when it stopped, we needed to be in the woods the minute it stopped.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was prepared to not go to the spot I was saying we should go to.
Yeah, that's right.
And
that's right.
And at the last minute, Kenny's like, you keep saying we need to go to the spot, and I don't know why we're not going there. So, like, you're right. Let's do it.
It's Friday too. Yesterday was Friday,
Yeah.
so we thought, this would be the weekend's coming.
Yep, we
Let's
needed
hit
to
it
hit
before
it.
anybody
So
else hits it.
we slipped down that ridge, and I mean, if you can envision the worst hellhole steep canyon, you're almost there. Because it is, man, it's bad, and it gets worse. It's big and deep.
Yeah, there's like false fronts on the way down. You think you're in it. And
Yeah,
then,
you
nope,
think,
you still have not reached the bottom
wow,
floor.
that is, I'm pretty sure maybe Satan lives down the bottom. It's down there.
Accented by the cloud, by the fog that was rolling in, so you just didn't you couldn't see. It was just like we're just
it's
diving
scary,
through this
man.
fog.
It's scary, and one of the things I did last year and probably screwed me up. We called in a good bull last year, really good bull. I had him at 22 or so, and one of the things that was running through my head was like, don't screw this up, because it'd be epic. You'd make 30 trips out with 14 pounds, because that's all you're going to get out of there at a time.
SOS inReach.
Yeah. I don't know what 30 and 14, that was just quick. It might not equal a bull, but you get the picture. So anyways, we slipped down this ridge in the morning, and it was still kind of raining, but it was breaking, and it was just perfect. I told Kenny, I'm like, they're going to bugle. So, you were blowing the old kazoo there, and 3 times, and we got that grunt right from the spot. I said, man, that is exactly where the bull was last year.
I bugled twice. The third one, I chuckled a little, and he
Yep.
immediately answered that chuckle.
Yep, that's what it was. So we ran down the ridge, got across from where we thought he was, and trying to figure the wind, watching the fog. We were right at fog line. It was kind of drift in and drift out, and then bailed. And mind you, we're going to the bottom of what we're at, but there is a lot of bottom to our left. And we were pretty analytical about it. We were not rushing it.
Yes, I thought we did. That was phenomenal, I thought.
And we knew we had to get on line with him because the wind would come up and go down. It was changing so much. We couldn't come underneath them. So we got on line and kind of thought he was, all of a sudden we thought we were accidentally stumbled into him. So, you dropped into that little bowl, and I set up, and you gave a bugle, I think.
Yep.
And wham, he bugled. Now he's across the canyon. He was too far to really set up on. And I could see he had cows, so now I know he's not coming. He's side hilling up the canyon above us. We're on a little finger ridge. So, and we spot his cows. He had 8 to 10 cows, and they were probably 150 yards in front of him. They're all on the same elevation. They know where they're going.
And the sun's coming out, and we're watching the fog start to come up. So we're knowing the winds. We got to get way up.
Yeah, and
which is not where we came from. Which is exactly where we just came from.
well, yeah, except we're on the other side of the canyon now.
Right.
So we start up, and it was a kind of a race. These two, our finger ridge is running towards the hillside they're on. So we need to get there before they get there. So we're hoofing it. We get up there, and now we're on line with them, and the wind is kind of steadied out. It's coming up, and we can see the cows probably 300-400 yards through the trees. They're milling around, and we decide we need to get above them because the wind is steadied, and above them's not a good plan. We're climbing into rocks, cliffs, and stuff, and we stopped. We got up that first rocky little bench, and I can see the cows, and we stopped, and I said, man, we're either going to go watch them bed and make a play, or we got to push them.
Yep.
And about then he bugled.
Yeah, that's right, because he had been quiet.
Yeah.
The last time he bugled, it was almost as though he was coming to where we were.
Yeah.
I kind of got, well.
So when he bugles, I look down on the bench below us, and he was probably 200 yards below us, and I could see him. And I turned to you and I said, we got him.
Yep. And we knocked some rocks down along the way. Like there was some slip and fall rock thing. So he knew there was something going on over there.
So we went back down the same chute we came up and got online. And you rightfully said, stay against the rocks because he can't get above us.
So we just went right along that rocky shelf, and there was a tiny little dip in there. And I said, you stay here. I'm going to get on this rise. And I just be aggressive.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said. Yeah, you looked back at me and said, be aggressive. And
Yeah.
I was giggling to myself. It's like, now that it was stuck in my head, B-E, aggressive. And I'm like, what? This is not the pump up, get pissed, get a bull pissed at you song that I need in my head right now.
And I told you after it was all over, it's been a handful of times, elk hunting that it's a puzzle, what to do, what time to do, but it's been a handful of times that you just think, I got it. This is all going to work. You don't know if you're going to get a shot, but the situation, and I knew it. He was just too close. He was away from his cows.
Yeah.
So, you stayed in that little dip. I went on the little rise. We were we 20 yards apart?
Nah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
And I tucked in against a burnt tree and a burnt log, and I looked over and I could see him standing there. And so I'd knocked an arrow, and I was set up for a shot. And probably in hindsight, it was a bad idea, but I'm set up for a shot where he is. But running it back to my head, it made no sense. He's going to come. It should have been a shot to my left. So I'd set up wrong, and he's like online with me. So when you called, I think he heard me shift or something, because he looked at you, and he answered.
He answered once.
Yeah, and then he turned like he was going to head to his cows, and I put my hand up behind me, gave you pick it up, and you hit it again, and now he turned, and here he comes.
I went bananas. I took your be aggressive, and I said, all right. I said, I'm either going to I'm going to blow him out of here, or I'm going to infuriate him.
Yeah, because he was only 60 yards from me when it all started out.
I didn't know that. I didn't know. I thought I had an idea that he was in a little bit of a different spot. But he never answered again, and I never heard another peep from him. To the point where, had you not been fidgeting, you started to kind of fidget, getting ready?
Yeah, trying to shift, because now I know he's coming underneath me.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm going to keep this up, because you're not giving me the stop, keep moving thing. And I was thinking I was going to try to find a tree to rake, and I found one, and I started moving back towards the rocks, and all of a sudden things kind of explode. My life explodes around me.
And so when I see that he's coming underneath me, and I'm set up wrong, I got these tall weeds, and my arrow is on the wrong side of these weeds. So now I got to lift my bow up, and he's in plain sight, because he's passing me at maybe 8 yards, and so I had to lift my arrow up to get over that weed, and I didn't clear the weed, so the weed flops around, and I get in position, and I'm in awe that he hasn't froze, because I just made a lot of movement, and he comes over the hill, and he is staring right at you, and he stops.
He was
staring at you,
and I turned to see him, he was if I could get a picture of that, it'd be priceless, because he was on this small little finger, and he was skylined, and all I could see was antlers and this furious elk who was now confused. But he's
you know what he was
galloping.
thinking? You know what he's thinking? He's looking at you in that Sitka gear in those rocks, and he's like, man, that blends in well.
That guy must be from California. Those tight pants on. Those piranha yoga pants he's wearing.
And now we go back to the fact of rushing the shot. Now, I've been doing this for quite a while. Same thing. I rush a shot, and I hit him high in the shoulder, and I knew right away. Go back to, regardless, you don't want to get a bad hit, but a bad hit in this country is epically serious, and so. He spins. He
spun, and I saw the shot. I saw it bury, and I thought the same thing you must have been thinking.
Let's get another one in.
Okay. When I don't have a narrow arrow knocked, I'm standing there.
So he spins, and I just looked down at my bow and grabbed an arrow and just thought, stay focused, because you got to get this arrow knocked now. And I look up, and I just hit him with a cow call. And he locks up, and we later range it at 36 yards. He locks up hard, quartering away, and the funny thing to me is, and I look forward to talking to a few people about it, is they talk about shot process. And people say, oh, you got to have a shot process. Well, I'll tell you what. Instinctive shooting,
Yeah.
there is no shot process at this time. I hit solid anchor, and in my mind I thought how serious it was, and that you'd done this 1,000 times, get it done. And I put that arrow right behind the last rib on a hard quartering away, and he took off. I put it right where I wanted it to, and he took off, and went right back the way he came.
Yep.
I knew it was a good hit, but he laid down immediately.
Yeah, and you turned to me and gave me a fist pump.
Yeah.
And it was confusing to me because I saw the first shot and I was like, man, I must have totally misseen that. And I think I knew you. I don't know if I knew you took a second shot or not, because I think I might have been looking down to get another arrow or get an arrow for me. And I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah. Well, it was such a serious situation at that point. You know, the fist pump was because I was just relieved that I got a good second shot in. The minute the arrow hit, it buried to the fletching, and like I said, he's quartering hard, and I see blood down the side. But when he went that 60 or 80 yards and laid down, I was immediately concerned, because part of me knew that angle was perfect, but to have a bull lay down so fast, to me, any animal is a gut shot. And so I was just like, why did he lay down? Is he dying? Or was it a gut shot? So I had some serious concerns there. And then within seconds, I said to you, man, I think I just heard him gurgle.
Yep.
And then his cows got a little antsy, and then he freaking grunted a pretty serious, like, get back here, cows. And I looked at you and I said, is that a second bull or is that the same one? And you're like,
right.
no, that's him.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what in the world? And then I heard that stick break, and then I watched him roll, and I said, he's dead.
Yep. And we could just see like antler tips, so it wasn't.
Yeah.
We saw the.
Well, I could see the arrow.
Fletching.
I could see the arrow the whole time.
Yeah.
And I saw the angle of the arrow. I saw the blood on the arrow, and then when he rolled and I saw it sticking up, I was like, man, he's dead.
This is Tom Klum with Rocky Mountain Specialty Gear, RMS Gear. I've been asked to talk about the ways in which I practice this time of year, because this time of year it does kind of switch up a little bit. What I really, like to do is add a lot of variety to my shooting right now. I don't like to really shoot indoors a lot. During the winter I'm working on form. I'll spend a lot of time at 20 yards and I'll score rounds because it kind of gives me a measure of how things are going. But this time of year, if I'm in my backyard, I do a lot of walk-ups, walk-backs. So I'll start at, 10, 15 yards, and I'll shoot the target. And I'll start walking away from the target. I have my arrows in my back pocket or side quiver or something, or in my bow quiver or whatever. And by the time I get another arrow knocked, I'll stop, and I'll shoot the target. And I'll just start walking away. And then same thing, get the arrow knocked up, get the hook on string, turn around, shoot the target. And, I do a lot of walk backs from, 10 to 30 yards or 20 to 50 yards. And then, I'll go gather my arrows and I'll walk back to 40 yards and I'll shoot one there and start walking up to the target. And then I'll just, I'll change angles. I'll zigzag back and forth. In the old days, I'd use burlap bags. I didn't have 3D targets, and I'd set them out in my yard. And I'd shoot at one and then shoot at a medium one and then a close one and then a far one. As an instinctive aimer, I really like that kind of venue and kind of try to shoot just one. And if I miss it, man, it aggravates me. And I want to shoot it again, but I kind of won't let myself. It kind of makes me get a little more determined next time I come around on that target. But as an instinctive aimer and, just not really looking for a gap, I just kind of, we're relying on seeing those spatial relationships and those trajectory paths subconsciously. So switching it up a lot this time of year is a giant help. And of course, this time of year, I want to hit the 3D range once or twice a week if you got a local one. And especially if you can get some angles up and downs and side hills and stuff like that. We've got a mountain range I spend a lot of time on this time of year. Get those, real hunting shots. You get to shoot across gaps where you really can't estimate a yardage. You got to, if you're a gap shooter, if you're using gaps or, relying on ranges, man, you've got to, have a rangefinder with you and shoot that arrow unranged, and then, check your mistake, check it on the rangefinder, look at that ground, look at what you're doing. So there's always a way to replicate more of a hunting situation. That's what I think guys really have to do, is switch it up and shoot a bunch of ranges.
So, yeah, that was, if I had double lunged him, I bet he would have went further.
Yeah, probably.
He really, and I would have expected that. But that arrow took him right behind the last rib. And after it was all said and done, we cut him, we boned him out. Yeah, we boned him out and did the gutless method. I took an axe. We went back down there to eat the horns. I took an axe and opened up his chest cavity. And that arrow had actually gone through all the goods, never hit paunch.
No.
Nope. And took the heart, went through the heart,
Yeah.
and buried into his far shoulder, right down the knuckle, but bloodshot a good part of that shoulder.
Yep.
So I was pretty stoked to have a guy that's a compound guy that all his buddies said you were hunting with an old guy with a homemade bow. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, buddy. You tell him that old guy with the handmade bow just drove one right through the boiler room lengthwise and buried into the shoulder. So I was pretty stoked with the performance of the arrow for sure.
Yeah, that actually, we talked a little bit about this, like how kind of you got into shooting a traditional bow versus compound and whatever, and having watched you do that and having been in some other situations, like I see there's a lot of value in it. Like, I don't know, because he came in so fast and was so close to try and draw, find a pin and shoot, like that process might have been a different scenario for a compound bow shooter.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit. I was talking on setups. Either do not get busted drawing early, or just wait to draw, because they'll lock up. That's what happened to my buddy down on this ridge. He got busted drawing at a bull at 7 yards. As a matter of fact, it was at 7 yards, and never got a shot because he was trying to draw when the bull's head was behind a tree.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that situation. I don't know that it would have worked with
it would have been hard.
Yeah,
because he was so close and so fast. It was just,
yeah.
He stopped right there, but it's you don't know.
So we waited a while, because part of me was sick, thinking, got to make sure he's down, because if he goes another couple 100 yards, we're not getting him out that day probably. So we took and started working him up. We got the last quarter off and bagged. We still had some work to do. Maybe we had one more quarter, and the clouds came over.
Oh,
and
yeah.
oh man, we put rain gear on. Did we have one more quarter to go?
I don't remember. I
think maybe we had it all off,
we were done,
but we still had some boning to do on them to get some more meat off them, neck meat.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. But so we put our rain gear on and sat down, and lightning hit all the ridges around us, and hail and torrential downpours, and then that just kept going.
Yeah.
Finally got up and finished working them up. Took the hocks off. Finished taking the bone out of the hinds and stuff, and loaded up that first load.
Oh
man, I probably couldn't have gone another 100 feet by the time I got to the truck.
No, I remember distinctly. I'm a pretty strong guy. But we came across that rock slide, and the words almost left me, like, to say, hey, this is dumb. Like, this is way too heavy, way too steep. Like, let's do it in 3 trips, and that's just what it's going to be. We got plenty. We had 3 more days.
He's a big bull.
He was a big bull.
I was concerned when we started across that slope, and I looked at you and said, hey, if you fall, make sure your feet are downhill and you're on the meat. You don't want, because it would have been
It
bad.
would have been real bad. You would have kept going until the bottom.
Yeah. So having to traverse that slope was pretty hairy. Once we made it to the grass
Yep.
on the other side, it was still steep.
But that first load was horrendous. I mean, all the way up that first load, and I kept dreading the second one. And the second one turned with sticks and less gear. The meat might have weighed the same, but with a little less gear, it was. I
Yeah.
don't have antlers on my back.
Oh, frick. Both loads, and I got under them. And I can't, I'm not saying this as a fanboy. That Kifaru pack, that I got the 44 mag, and somebody had said, just put a trash bag in there. Well, we had those straps and dragging that pack and all. Man, that thing, you would not want to have blown a buckle. I'm thoroughly impressed. But
Yeah.
both times I got under that load, the first load, I thought, I can't do this.
Yeah, I know.
I ain't gonna make it. And we made it.
We did.
And at the one point where he stopped, and I said, "Hey, look at the truck." It was across the canyon. And then at the last, we were so high above the truck, just had to where we came out and hit the road. And then the second load, we came back, got some dry stuff, and went down for the second load. Got a little hatchet.
We accidentally did the second load. Unbeknownst to me,
I wasn't up
really
for it.
planning on doing it. I was putting gear on and getting ready to go.
Yeah, that was a fact. I thought, man, I'll just throw it out. What do you think about going and get the second load? Because we could always do it tomorrow. But yeah, you were just ready to go. I thought, well, I guess we're gonna go get the second
I
load.
guess this is happening.
And I hadn't eaten, and that was a mistake. I didn't eat all day, and then I ate so much or so quick I was gonna puke. But we headed down in there with minimal gear now.
Mm-hmm.
I took a puffy, but I just had a shirt. We get down there and start getting loaded, and here it comes again, man.
Yeah.
Frickin' lightning and hail. You
I
said,
think every time you put your pack on, it started pouring rain.
you said, what'd you say? Man, those are cold raindrops. I said, that ain't rain. That was like dime-size hail. But I got the horns on, and that was a grind. I was really concerned going across that slope now. It's so steep that I'd be dragging the uphill antler, pushing me off balance.
Yeah.
And
I was not envious of your situation.
And then, we each had a hind quarter, and then plus the horns.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a pretty good estimate of what my pack weighed, but I won't say. Usually, if you've ever killed a big bull, and so. Yeah, that second load, I got under that. I thought, no, I can't do this. And I almost had you back the truck down when I hit the road 50 yards.
Get the saw, cut these trees down, and back.
Yeah, I came out like 50 yards out from the truck downhill, and I'm thinking, come on, dude, back the truck down here. I was played.
And I kept thinking, there's this thing in CrossFit that and I hate this. People gather around the last person to finish, and they start cheering him on and make this big scene. I thought about doing that just to, all right, Robbie, come on, you got it, buddy, almost there, right to the truck. And I just didn't have the energy. I was busy drinking water, sitting on my ass.
Yeah, so it wasn't a long ways in there, but it was freaking steep, man.
Yeah.
That was steep, and I'm just thankful he went down where he did.
Mm-hmm. The miracle is we both feel good today.
Yeah. I feel pretty good. We got the meat cooled out nice last night. Stripped it out of it dirty bags and got them in those good clean canvas bags and got it hanging. Cleaned up the skull. It's a pretty nice bull, man. I'm pretty stoked. I was wishing it was a spike when I was coming out of there.
Passing. Talk about passing on them.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I was anxious to knowing you hadn't had a lot of experience, and it was a good opportunity to get together and hunt. We still got a few days. We'll probably get out tonight, and this weather change has been pretty awesome. And go find us another one.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. I don't think I really said this. I'm really bummed about me missing my bull, but if that, having that happen led to what happened yesterday, that's worth it to me because, having learning hunting as an adult and being, shown the way by a lot of good guys who've taken me out in the woods. Like, I always want to be a contributing member of this thing, and what I really was afraid of, and I really didn't want, and you had no idea, like, you didn't ask me to, like, call in front of you or shoot in front of you. You just trusted. You said, all right, like, we're gonna go. And I really wanted to be a contributing member of this thing and to, like, be able to call that bull in for you.
Oh yeah,
that is so cool for me to, like, I don't know. Again, I think weird joke. I showed you a text of a friend that said, he said, oh, he conned his way into hunting with some old guy and shoots a homemade bow. And I think that, I was like, oh man, people think I'm going out with this guy and he's going to, like, hold my hand and show me where these tame elk are and shoot my first bull. And, I think that, I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like, it's been a pretty good team effort, and that was very cool for me to be able to do that for you.
Yeah,
Be a part of it with you, not for you.
No, you did, and I was impressed with. I mean, I thought I was going to come out and show you elk hunt. I mean, you got it down. I mean, there's the nuances, but as far as the calling, it was super. We didn't touch on it, and I said afterwards, when we were working that first bull, and he wasn't coming, and I threw the cow call out.
Yep.
And we talked about the lip ball.
Yep.
You hear how hard he lip balled, and that was the first time he lip balled.
Yep.
And then you did it back.
Yep.
That was just awesome. But no, you've learned a lot, and obviously before this, and man, that's been fun.
We still got a couple days.
Yeah, I know it. Now you called both bulls. Now I got to call a bull. Yeah, so maybe the old guy just, he just invited you along for a caller.
That's fine, man. I would have totally
this
come
guy
on.
knows I can call.
If you would have said, don't even bring a tag, you're just going to call for me, I would have come anyways. I would have been stoked to do it.
Yeah.
So, no, I think there's something for, picking up hunting at 30, like, it's a hard thing to do because, most people, I think, learn from their dads at, like, 12 or 14 or at some point. And to try and do it at 30 has been an interesting road. And I think that this new wave of hunters, who are getting into it because of podcasts and Meateater and stuff like that, it's hard. And I think that there's a lot of credit goes to the people that are willing to take other newer hunters out and show them the way. So I'm really appreciative of that. Do you?
Oh, no, it's
cool.
It's been fun. It's been fun, and I got a couple buddies, and one of the reasons why I like hunting this stuff is just the adventure, right? In the big country, and that feeling of, you ain't gonna hit a road. You're gonna go in there and you're not gonna hit a road.
Yeah.
So coming here solo is just not an option for me. I'm just not that kind of animal.
Oh, yesterday would have been.
Oh, that would have been a 3-day trip. It would have been a 3-day trip.
Unload, take a nap.
Yeah. So I was pretty stoked, like, I knew you kind of wanted to get into the little backcountry stuff and see this stuff. So that was a big part of it for me. It was like, you want to come down here and check this stuff out? Heck yeah. So cool beans, man.
Yeah.
Camp looks like a refugee camp. We got wet crap hanging everywhere.
Wet, very expensive refugee camp.
that is one expensive clothesline over there. We refined the tag bag idea, so that's been awesome. You got to vent your frustration with Meateater.
That's right.
Yeah, we got good, clean, man. I'm so excited about the way that meat came out.
I know.
That was a great place to work an animal up. That stuff is just super clean. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been great.
Probably recap this thing last night or something and talk about the bull you killed. And, yeah.
I think we're shooting cows now. Cows, spikes.
That looks like a blind apparently, because we got them patterned right here.
Yep, we're golden. I'm going to sit here right in this very spot, and it'll be great.
Cool. All right. Well, if we don't talk to you guys again, hope you enjoyed the discussion here, the recap. But I'm figuring we're going to talk again. So later. You got anything?
No, that was great.
All right.
Thanks.
We're live.
All right, man.
Right on.
Back.
Yeah. So we weren't sure what would happen about how this was going to end, but we did. We ended up going out yesterday. We got interrupted by a wandering grouse hunter. mid-podcast.
That's right.
And yeah, there's some guys from Wisconsin?
I think Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Wisconsin and Michigan.
I met them last year, and they're good enough guys. But today the weather has turned dramatically, and we're actually sitting in the truck because it was too loud in the tent to do this. It's pouring, raining. I don't know. It's probably 40.
It says on your dashboard 45 degrees.
45 degrees and fog, serious hypothermia weather. And I guess what I'm getting at is we talked about coming up the trail. A couple of decisions we made today could have made this day really bad.
Yes, significantly worse.
Yeah, midstream, this guy from Wisconsin comes up. He was looking for grouse, and I guess they're hunting. And my concern is when I saw them the other day, they had sweatshirts on and riding around. You dive off in one of these holes and you're out of shape. And this weather came in fairly fast because it was a nice mist.
Yeah.
A lot of the morning, and it was like, man, this is great.
Great fall hunting day. Yeah.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, we kind of got surrounded by fog, and I said, man, we're the last basin that's open. And then it wasn't open.
Yeah, and it came on soft. Like it was kind of like a drizzle, and then it got a little more and a little more.
So I hope those guys are in their tent right now.
Yeah, for sure. Because we got high-dollar crap, and we were...
Yeah.
It was wet and cold.
Well, the last push out... we kept thinking, man, if this breaks, the elk are going to move. And we were huckered under a spruce tree. And finally we said, nah, let's get. Well, once we got at spruce tree, I was a little shocked at how hard it was raining. The trail that we were working off of, it was raining so hard you didn't want to walk in the trail because it was just washing out the trail. And so... had we gone down in that hole, it would be one miserable sucker.
Yeah, the hole in which there was, how many bulls? 4?
At least 4, but it's epic. I actually thought I wanted to do it, and we got down to the elevation this morning that I figured would be like the kickoff elevation. Okay, we're going to get down to here, we'll get them bulls fired up, and then we'll figure out how to play. And when I got down to there, and looked at how much further it was. I mean, it's 2,000 top to bottom.
Yep. Yeah.
And in a short period, because it's just straight down. It's not like it's a 3-mile walk over.
No, that would have been
2,000.
That would have been a nightmare. And I had talked myself into it last night too. I think we both had regrettably decided that it was the last day. Let's just go do it. There's bulls down there that haven't been touched. We're gonna go kill one of those. It'll be an epic story someday.
Yeah. Well, we're jumping ahead of ourselves too, because we had some fun last night.
We did.
We got done doing the first part of the recap, and our plan was to we're kind of licking our wounds from the day before. So the afternoon we were going to slip down this ridge and just try to locate some bulls, and you just never know. When you're in the woods, something might happen, and sure enough, it did.
Man.
What was cool is when we're going down the ridge, and we're both like, man, you smell that elk? Mm-hmm. I said, that's fresh, he's here. Mm-hmm. And we sat down and hit the cow call, I think.
Yeah, I think you cow called, and I think you were kind of doing some directional calling with the cow calling with the tube.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, just a weird, just a really strange sound. And
I thought it was you. I wasn't sure what you were doing.
Yeah.
I thought for sure it was you.
Well, and it was close to me, and so I said, hey, man, we got to swap.
Yeah.
So as we were swapping, as we were passing each other, I looked up the hill, and here comes a bull down the hill.
Yep.
And the wind was coming up, and I was like, man, we're hosed.
Yep. Yeah, it was a scramble, because I was set up kind of looking over, which I was looking over the edge. There's bushes, and I thought whatever was over there was going to come right up to those bushes, and that was going to be about a 4-yard shot. And yeah, you said, there he is.
I was like, oh crap, there he is.
And I kind of dove in the bush right next to you, is what I recall.
Yeah, he was, and the wind was coming up, and I thought, there's no way this is going to work.
Yep.
He was quartering on hard. The time I saw him, he was about 60 yards. He lit out at about 40 yards. He turned broadside. It was a lot of trees and stuff.
Yeah,
but the wind's
very narrow.
Yeah, the wind's coming up, and I can see his nose working.
Mm-hmm.
He has got to smell us. No way. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't showered in 4, 5, 6, 7 days. I don't know.
And we're sitting together.
That's one big stink nugget right there. So he just kept working his nose, and I could hear you breathing. I mean, we were shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah. And so if you're listening to this and you didn't listen to the previous recap, long story short, I missed the first bull of the trip.
Oh, they'll hear it. I'll put these two together.
Okay. And so running through my head is like, okay, just calm down, take it slow, and relax, find your shot, get comfortable, and whatever you do, don't rush it. And so I just, all I wanted to do was just control my breathing and my heart rate. And yeah, you probably heard me some heavy panting, but it was actually, I felt pretty calm.
Yeah.
Remarkably.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, you got this, no worries. But but that bull just kept flaring his nose. I'm like, man, he's gonna blow. So he started to whirl, and I hit him with a cow call, and he froze, and I thought you had a lane.
Yeah, I did not. Well, so backtrack just 1 second, because the first thing you said when you saw him was, wow, that's a great bull.
Yeah, I'm really helpful. Okay.
Let's calm his nerves a little. That's a great bull.
Man, that thing's 340 all day.
And yeah, you stopped him, and no, all I had was hind legs and nothing else. And I mentioned that to you.
Yeah, so bull's still working his nostrils, and he really thinks there's elk down there, but he's smelling something strange. So then he starts to go again, and I hit him with the cow call again, and he locks up. And you said, at some point, how far do you think he is?
I think I said, what do you got, yardage or something?
I said 35, 40, and yeah, I feel bad I should have had my binos up.
I had perfect, like all I had was vitals. Like it was a perfect framed up. It was going to be.
It was uphill, pretty good uphill.
It was,
and a lot of that reprod grasses, and it's right there in the burn. So I guess my point is, there's a lot of weeds.
Yeah, we were crouched, and in retrospect, I don't know if I was standing, if that would have changed. I can't re-envision the.
Yeah, so you touched it off, and the minute you shot, I thought, oh, he hit a limb, because I heard it.
Mm-hmm.
And that bull bolted and didn't look hit to me, and you said, man, it was perfect. It was a perfect release.
Yeah, and I didn't think he was hit either. I thought I didn't realize I didn't hear the brush.
Yeah.
I thought we had the yardage wrong, because I agreed with you on the yardage. And so I held 40 pin. It was dead steady, centered, and like just lightly touched off the release. And if I've said this to you a couple times, but if you had covered my eyes or something and said, all right, was that a good shot? And I would have said all day, yes. I would have bet everything on that.
So we set up the old perimeter, marked your shooting spot, went up. I dry tracked them, and eventually we found the arrow, and it was some frustrating times.
It was we found the arrow at, I think it was 75 yards.
Yeah, uphill. So the theory is, but it was still right on line. Theory is, I heard it hit brush, and we looked for the brush it would have hit before we found the arrow, and couldn't find it. But yeah, it must have hit something and just launched up.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can. I mean, even if I held, like I've said before, like my lowest pin's 60, and so, anyways, whatever.
Yeah. In the interim, before we figured all this out, raghorn came underneath you, and I thought, man, I better find blood fast. But yeah, so he moved off. And anyways, yeah, there was a lot of soul searching there for a bit. We discussed the difference between rushing a shot and screwing up or just hitting a branch you didn't see.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm still, we've talked about that a lot still, and I think I'll still grapple with it a little bit moving forward. It's a bummer. I think everybody wants to talk about their story, or they want to frame up a story about certain things, and certainly missing the first 2 elk you shoot at is not the story anybody wants to tell.
Yeah. Well, and you're concerned about, wounding one.
Right.
You said to me, if I should I keep trying? Should I keep trying to do this? And, they're 2 completely different scenarios.
Yep. Yeah, and I think it's not a secret that most of us as hunters need to be aware that it's a touchy subject, and that there's people out there that don't agree with what we do, and if the story gets out that you're missing animals or wounding animals, like it's not I don't think that's a good look for the sport, or whatever you want to call it, hobby.
Well, then we started talking, how much you practice, and I never really thought about it, but it came up. A rifle hunter, how many rounds does a average rifle hunter shoot a year practicing for a season, and how many arrows does an average archer generally shoot practicing for his season? I mean, we put in the practice, but there's a whole lot other, the emotions, handling the emotions, and body language. There's a lot that goes into it. But again, I mean, you being a relatively new bow hunter, and yeah, this has been fun delving into, fun, I say it's fun, it's been pretty frustrating for you, but, delving into your whole, your journey, your thought process through it all.
Yeah, I know, and you've commented how I'm very analytical and introspective, and I'm kind of an open, I'll tell you what I'm thinking, and I think that, I don't know how it comes off, but I have gotten feedback that I think that, and we were talking about this earlier, that Instagram and social media and all the platforms, that the success is all that's ever really talked about. And there's a little bit of underlying stuff on forums or sometimes on some of the TV shows or whatever. People rarely seem to talk about failure and what goes on there and how that feels. And
yeah, we did. We had a pretty good discussion out there today under the spruce tree in the rain, talking about how it looks so easy on Instagram, and how you feel like when your friends are all killing elk and posting pictures and stuff, and it kind of puts pressure on you, like, man, why not me? It can be difficult for a new hunter, for sure, for any hunter.
Yeah, man, I told you earlier, it's like losing your virginity growing up. Like everyone's out there finding you're alone and you're confused and not sure what to do. If he can get some, I should be able to get some.
I know. Yeah, that guy's out of shape.
What's wrong with me? But yeah, and I think that looking at through that lens can take away from it. And for me, and I don't know if this is a universal thing, but I'm very outcome oriented, and because of what I do for work, and things are quantifiable and measurable as far as progress, and I don't know that hunting is the same necessarily. If you're to measure progress or success with tags filled, that's a tough metric to justify, I think, because there are certain uncontrollable things, and it's too all or nothing, I think.
Yeah, and when I told you yesterday, you were getting pretty emotional and pretty pissed, and I said, man, this ain't golf. There is no other pastime where you're so emotionally, I can't think of one. Maybe cricket is that way. Maybe Alan Kidner or Jimmy Behag, one of you guys can tell me. Maybe cricket's that way, but to put that much emotion into something, and it's 365 days. You're shooting, you're getting your gear ready, you're studying maps, all of that. It all comes up to really the measure of success can sometimes be whether or not you punched a tag, and that everybody says the easy out is, well, it's the experience. Well, yeah, I mean, I could hunt elk in easier places. I hunt here because of the experience. So yeah, it is some of the experience. But if I don't kill an elk, I go home a little ticked off.
Yep.
Because I wanted to kill an elk.
Yeah, that's why we're here. That's why you're
yeah.
carrying a bow around. Yeah, and that's a tough one too. I think I was chatting about this with someone the other day, that you can half work your way through the year and not shoot as much and not go out as far and not spend as much time out here, and then you have less invested and it's less to lose. And the more you practice, the more you invest, the harder it is to not succeed. But it's a little bit, it's like kind of you kind of have to do it, right?
Well, then you said to me, I've done this 4 years now. Sometimes I wonder if I should continue to invest in it.
Yeah.
Right? What do I feel like if in 8 years I haven't killed an elk?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess you just got to feed off of, is the experience good enough to, to make you want to continue? At the same time, I told you that, I don't know, the old cliche, what does it go? The reward, greater the pain, greater the reward. The more
Yep.
you put into it, the more rewarding it is when it all comes together.
Yeah, 1,000%. I think that's true. And I think we were chatting about kind of the last day of the season this will be the last day of my elk hunting season. Kind of the the thought process there, and it is a little tough to think, okay, this is 4 years, and those are the closest I've been to filling a tag, and you do kind of think, wow, man, maybe it'd be easier if I just started fishing more or doing something easier. It's
Golf?
just like golf.
Cricket.
I hate golf. Golf is the worst. What is the point of golf?
Okay, cricket. We'll go with cricket. Or no, maybe those guys, Jack Spinks, those guys are rugby players. They'll tell me it's rugby.
I don't understand. I've played golf for many years. I finally started realizing there's nothing. It doesn't translate into anything useful.
Driving carts.
That's okay. All right, maybe there you go.
No, it was cool. The whole experience for me to watch you go through this has been pretty cool, and I hope you gain something from it.
Yeah.
Besides half an elk. I mean, you carry half an elk out of that hole. You deserved it.
No, I do. Like, it was the first one's a lot tougher. The first miss, the first set, like that one's. But again, and the other thing that's I think tough about hunting is you're so much quiet time, and if you're an introspective person and someone that kind of talks to themselves in their own head, you can go down some dark places sometimes, because you rehash things and you wish, you regret things, and I wish I would have done this, I should have done this, and you said something today that was totally unrelated, but you said something like, I did the best I could with the information that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. And you did, all the other things led up to something.
Do you remember what that was about?
It was about the meat, yeah.
Yeah. It's almost 60 degrees when we leave camp, so I thought, well, I'm going to put the meat in the tent and cover it with the sleeping bags. And within 2 hours, it's like 40.
Yep, it was perfect.
So
well done.
I was beating myself up today down the hole like crap. But, so now this has all been leading up to one question that I have not even sprung on you.
Oh, man, I'm nervous.
Yeah, you should be. So
sitting here in this
show all your friends, all the guys that we all know that you hunt with. All the comments have been made. Robbie Recurve, the old guy with a wooden bow. Are you ready to go to a trad bow? Do you see yourself ever going to a traditional bow?
You know what? I would have never said yes. And Travis, our friend, has asked me that before. He said, hey, I'm not going down that road at all with you. So if you start thinking you're going to shoot a traditional bow, you're on your own. And I would have agreed with him. In fact, that was probably what I said to him. I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep shooting a compound until I get real good with that. And shooting elk becomes so easy that I need to make it harder. But I really like watching you operate that thing. I can understand the advantages in a lot of ways. One being the I think the quickness of it, like the instinctual, the way that you shoot it, you've described as instinctual shooting. The lack of kind of the process of having to draw, find your anchor and then center and find your pin and all that process. I don't know that I could have done that with your bow. I like running to 8 yards at 1,000 miles an hour. And I certainly see the advantages. I think, and the other thing I think too is that compound bow shooters, and again, I'm a new compound bow shooter, so this opinion is from very much a rookie, but I think we rely a lot on our pins and to like, certain yardages of things. And I think to kind of find the nuances and shoot more instinctually would be a really good skill to develop. So personally, I could see doing both, like shooting compound and shooting, and especially in the wintertime when I'm shooting a lot indoors, and shooting 20 yards with a compound bow isn't a whole lot of fun. It's kind of monotonous.
There's a lot of guys. Do you shoot down the range?
Yeah.
There's Mike and Pete, and all those guys. Well, no, I shouldn't say Pete. There's Brian Book. There's a whole bunch of guys that were always compound guys, but they saw me and Pete and a couple other guys having so much fun indoors that they started shooting, sticks. But the big thing, and I tell anybody, and I'm not anti-compound. You made a comment early on joking that I said something about shooting a recurve, and you said, why would I make things harder on myself? I mean, and that's the truth, because that bull that came in last night, 40 yards, that's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
That's not a first shot. So, you just got to be able to limit yourself. But that was just a tongue-in-cheek question. I wasn't really pressing you.
No, I think it's cool. I really like. I've seen the light. I understand.
Well, at least now you can go back to that crowd and say, you can stick up for me. Well, he's not that old.
The clothes he made for himself were actually pretty cool.
That squirrel skin jockstrap was something else.
It took him a while to set up his monocle set of binoculars and telescope.
That's right.
Like some old pirate.
That's right.
No, it's cool. I love it.
Yeah, well, I handed you my bow yesterday, and you said, man, this thing's light. I'm like, yeah, dang right it is.
Actually, it brings up a good point. I used to say, I still will say this, is that I'm just going to start walking around with a hammer hunting, and then when I don't come back without any punch tags, I'll say, well, yeah, because I'm hunting with a hammer. It's pretty hard. You ever tried it?
Wait a minute, that's kind of a dig on trad guys right there. That's a
No. I'm just saying, making it harder, then I'd say, well, I hunt with a trad bow. What do you expect?
A traditional hammer. What else? We missing anything in the woods that happened cool?
Your coal harvest.
We got a story there. Well, this all started. We pulled in here. I don't remember what time of day. It was in the evening.
Yeah, it was just.
I get out of my truck, and one thing in my life, I've always marveled at all the coal trains that go through Sandpoint. I've never held a piece of coal. I always wondered what coal was like. I get out of my truck at 9,500 feet, and there's a piece of coal. So I was pretty stoked. And I get to looking around. It's like, I don't know where all this coal came from. There's a hell of a bunch of coal up here. So we're actually putting in for a permit to strip mine this.
So there's someone out there that knows exactly where we are.
Yeah, he's coming back for his coal. There's some big pieces too. I wish my kid was still 5. I would love to take it home, put it in his stocking.
I'm going to do that. I have a 5-year-old. This is perfect.
Oh, sweet.
Nope, Dad didn't shoot any elk, but he brought you a bunch of coal.
and I got some grouse.
I didn't even shoot any grouse. I've progressed past shooting grouse.
How many trees did we hear fall on dead calm days?
I don't know, a dozen?
Yeah, I mean, you're just like, it's dead calm, no wind. It was like, it's unnerving. It's unnerving.
It's wild.
And then we had that rock slide there.
When I tried to...
No, oh yeah. Yeah, you tried to go down the hill, but when we were just finishing up with the elk, was it the second trip? When all of a sudden those rocks come off the hill.
Yeah, that's right.
I was waiting for one of them big buggers to come ripping through. And
that's right. You were worried you were going to have to carry the rest of the meat out yourself.
Yeah.
It's going to come pin.
Yeah. That's exactly right. We had a lot of funny stuff.
We did. That's the if you were going to be an experienced guy, like if that was the marker of a good trip. And I have actually, this brings up a good point. I forgot to mention my good friend Kirk, who I forget you mentioned the people that have influenced my hunting. He's somebody, without him I wouldn't be hunting. He's a guy that like just, if he laughs enough, like he doesn't really seem to care that much. And I love that about him. And
he was the one that first got you into hunting.
yeah, well, we first started hunting together. Like we kind of came up, or I don't know,
Came up through the ranks.
Screwed up a lot together. There's maybe a better way to put it.
Was he the one that you were chasing the turkeys with?
Yes. But yeah, we've laughed and had a ton of fun. We giggled, and you shot an elk, carried that around, come home with meat. I didn't, the thing we've said a million times is my misses those were great things to learn. There's no blood, no foul.
What do they say? No elk were harmed in the making of this podcast.
That's right. Yeah, I could have had my hammer. But yeah, as far as experiences go, it's been phenomenal. And I said to Jen before I left, I said I will learn a ton from Rob. Whatever happens, whether I fill a tag or I do not, I will learn a ton, and I feel that's true. So it's been a big success for me.
I was trying to think how many bulls did we see?
Like within range, or like?
Well, it's been darn good. I mean, if I come down here on a normal year with my buddy Jake and we see this many, it's a killer year. So
yeah.
I mean, we had a killer hunt in Colorado. Did I mention we're in Colorado? yeah, we're in Colorado.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, OTC. You betcha. It's Colorado with a capital C. Well, I'm going to give a shout out to Drew Kohlhofer, my good buddy. He killed a nice buck in Idaho. That was awesome. I was stoked for you, buddy. And I just saw our buddy AJ Doobie killed a great bull. First trad kill. Right on, dude. That is awesome, man. So you guys keep tagging us on your first kills. That's a blast. All your kills, really, but to see people's first trad kills, yep. And I'd just leave one parting shot with my buddy Kenny here that, new bow hunter, all you guys that are just getting into bow hunting, it's your duty to protect and promote. So we're trying to show you guys all we can, and you need to carry the torch like everybody's done for the last 40 years.
You got it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I appreciate all your help and insight and mentoring.
You know, it almost stopped raining.
Let's go back out.
Wow.
To be continued.
Yeah. Yeah, we got like 15 minutes of fog light left.
If those cows come cruising through, like they did the other night, sitting in camp. You got any more? You want to take another shot at Steve Rinella? No, man.
This
I
is
love
your
Steve
chance.
Rinella.
This was your chance to air your grievance.
I did. I think my grievance has been aired.
Did you sleep last night?
No, but that was different. No, Rinella's a good guy. I just would like to, have some open discussion about this.
You want some closure. You need closure.
I want the, what would be a good idea? Here's a fundraising idea for every state is sell Sasquatch tags. Sell a Sasquatch tag every year for $50 or something.
You hear that, Colorado? I love this state.
Carry it around, they don't fill it, but you get to keep it as a memento every year.
Wow. You get a lot of good ideas.
Just came to
Small game tag bags, Sasquatch tags. Huh. Ready to end it?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening. Later.